Good morning, Patriots. We're back to bring you the news that you need to know about heading into your work day, your work week, or whenever you're listening to this. It might be through audio, it might be through visual. But today is November 17th, and Donald Trump is still by far, not even close, the best president in American history. We have Trump's dumping a former ally here. China's intelligence tentacles are kind of going out everywhere. And Operation Charlotte's Web will be covering all of it in today's episode of The Bald Brad Show. Before we do that, though, this show is sponsored by yours truly, me, Bald Brad. So head over to baldbrad.com and check out our website. We have blogs, we have news, we have a book that's posted there, and we also have a store for merchandise that is American Patriot related. And so if you like the Minutemen, if you're geared up, if you're ready to go, if you like America, well, that's the merchandise for you. We got mugs, we got hoodies, we got t-shirts. We have a lot of women that watch the show as well, so we're catering to them too. We got all sorts of goodies, and it's the holiday season, so you got to go over there and buy the stuff up to get ready for the holidays. If somebody truly loves you, they'll buy you Bald Brad merch. If they don't buy you the merch, you got to start questioning that love they have for you. That's all jokes, sort of. But with that being said, hopefully all of you had a lovely weekend. Not sure exactly what all of you were doing, but I hope it's lovely or was lovely nonetheless. Well, let's jump a little bit in the news here because Trump seems to be going at it with a ally here, and it's making headline news. We have right here, folks, Trump ripping Marjorie Taylor Greene. It says here, top headline, President Donald Trump dramatically withdrew his backing of Marjorie Taylor Greene over the weekend amid a national debate over the Epstein files. Now, this is fascinating because I've seen her making her rounds on CNN, MSNBC, and DNC, and even her kind of messaging has morphed. It's turned kind of weird a little bit. We're to the point where it doesn't really sound like her. She's been on The View as well. And so it's kind of threw a few people off. And it's made a big shift in the MAGA world. And it's been a loud one, that's for sure. So Donald Trump, according to this article here, has officially broken with one of the most famous allies. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene was, I think everybody would say this, basically one of his most loyal troops, in air quotes, in Congress, and is now being branded by Trump as, and I'm not quoting here, Trump with his names, quote, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So I feel like we haven't heard a name being called on somebody in quite some time. So, Trump ain't happy. Well, this weekend, Trump went nuclear. He went on his social media and said he understands that, quote, wonderful conservative people, end quote, are thinking about primarying her in Georgia. And that if that right person runs, they will have his complete and unyielding support. He accused her of going far left, even mocking her for going to The View, which I mentioned to all of you, with what he called low IQ Republican hating anchors, which is true. I mean, there's a couple things in here that are actually speaking truth. Now, going far left, I'm not so sure on that one. I disagree. But, it's Trump and he exaggerates things at times. That is not a minor slap on the wrist, by the way. That is Trump telling the base, she's done. I'm over her. The breakup's over. And remember, a few years ago, Greene was one of the loudest Trump defenders in Washington. I mean, she wrapped herself in the MAGA brand wearing the hat, aligned with him on impeachment, election fraud claims, and just about everything else. Now, you've got a former and current president calling her wacky, a ranting lunatic, and a traitor to our country. I mean, these are strong words coming from Trump. So you got to ask yourself then, like, what happened? Like, what's the major shift here? Because this almost feels like it's coming out of nowhere. Well, Greene has launched what I'd call a full-blown media rebrand, basically. And she's been on The View. As I mentioned, she's been on CNN. She's talking to outlets that she used to bash as fake news. And on CNN over the weekend, she actually apologized for taking part in toxic politics. She said she regrets never speaking up about Trump's style of attacks until conveniently those attacks were aimed at her. I mean, this is really odd rhetoric coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's also claiming she's now receiving threats and warnings for her safety and strongly implying that Trump's rhetoric is putting her in danger without quite saying his name, but everybody knows who she means. You got Trump saying nobody cares about this traitor, and Greene saying his language is a dog whistle to dangerous radicals. And this is not a small disagreement. This is open warfare. Well, Greene says that the real break between her and Trump is about the Epstein files. That's what she's saying. Now, here's what's going on behind the scenes. There is a bill in the House, the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and that would force the DOJ to release as many Epstein documents as possible within 30 days. With protections, mind you, for victims' identities, which is what everybody wants. It was introduced by a Democrat, Ro Khanna, oddly enough, but the push to force a vote has been led by Republican Thomas Massie, who support from Greene, Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, we talked about this last week on Friday, I believe, and every single House Democrat. They used a rare move, a discharge petition, to go around GOP leadership and force the bill to the floor. They needed 218 signatures. They got 214 Democrats plus 4 Republicans, and Greene was one of them. That's how we ended up with Speaker Mike Johnson now saying he'll hold a vote. Greene has been blasting away online as well, saying that Epstein rapeid and pedophile network must be exposed and that the files should be released by any means possible. And I think a lot of people agree that the files should be released. I haven't talked to too many Republicans or conservatives. I can't even think of one off the top of my head that says they don't want the files released. And it's okay to redact the victims' names. We all get that. Protect them. She even said if something happens to her, people should look into who tried to stop the information coming out. That's wild. I mean, this whole shift from her demeanor is really, it's a 180. I mean, she sounds like a totally different person if you listen to her. Trump, for his part, initially wanted the whole thing to go away. He repeatedly called the Epstein files a frenzy and a hoax, a political distraction weaponized by Democrats. He and some of his administration reportedly pressed Republicans not to sign the discharge petition, and an anonymous official even called support for it a hostile act toward the administration. See, that's a little odd. It's a little weird. But then the political ground shifted. Grassroots conservatives, including our audience, wants those files. Victims want transparency. Populists on the left and the right both want to see who is involved in this whole thing. And once the petition hits 218 votes, the dam broke. Trump suddenly reversed course and said House Republicans should vote to release the files, and even started saying we should be looking into people like Bill Clinton and other Epstein associates. So this whole file thing is just like a reed in the wind, like release them, not release them. Oh, we want to release them, then we're not going to release. It's like, what is going on here? So Greene's out here saying, see, I was right all along. I'm fighting for the truth on Epstein. Trump tried to block it, then flipped when he saw the politics. Trump is saying, no, this has nothing to do with Epstein. She's just an ambitious opportunist who wants to run for Senate or governor, and she's gone soft. So 2 totally different narratives are happening here between the two. And this isn't just about the Epstein files. It's about control of the MAGA brand, who speaks for the populist right, and whether loyalty to Trump is absolute or conditional on policy and principle. There have been policy cracks forming for months, by the way. Greene breaking with Trump on pieces of healthcare strategy and future of Obamacare. Disagreements over foreign policy, including aid to Israel and other overseas commitments. I think a lot of people are really pushing hard against Israel, especially from the right. I mean, the left was already doing it. And now every public split over transparency on Epstein. I mean, Trump is over here saying, if you challenge me publicly, you're out of the movement. And Greene is essentially saying, I don't serve you. I serve the people in my conscience. And she's right in that statement. She really is. You don't have to agree with Trump on everything, but if you do it publicly, he's gonna whack you upside your head. Now, do I think Greene suddenly found Jesus on toxic politics after years of QAnon, these conspiracy videos and flame throwing, basically? I mean, no. Color me skeptical, folks. This looks as much like a strategic rebrand, testing whether there's a lane for a post-Trump still MAGA identity, especially in Georgia statewide politics. But I mean, at the same time, a lot of normal Americans, not just political junkies, do want the Epstein files out, and they are sick of seeing powerful people escaping accountability. This is why this issue is so dangerous for the establishment. It unites populists on both sides and cuts across normal tribal lines, man. And the big question here, and this is where things land for the conservative movement, do you define loyalty by personality? Stand by Trump no matter what? Or do you define loyalty by principles like transparency, the rule of law, exposing the elite corruption wherever it lands? Because the Epstein files fight is the perfect test case, in my opinion. Do we really want to see the network? Names, flight logs, court records, communications? Or do we want to see if it hurts the other side, it never touches our own? Greene says she's all in on total exposure, as am I. Trump is now saying he wants the files out too after fighting it and wants to aim that spotlight at his enemies. I mean, fine, good, turn on the lights, but turn them on everywhere. In the meantime, this very public breakup between Trump and Greene is a reminder, man. The populist right is no longer just one man, it's a coalition, and the coalition is now openly arguing with itself about what comes first, which you don't see me dip my hands into too often. And I'll tell you why. Because I have my own lane. I'm not beholden to a party. I'm not beholden to a corporation. I'm not beholden to anybody other than really God and Jesus himself. And I try to at least have a viewpoint that's grounded and can keep me kind of, somewhat sane here on the show. And is also just an average Joe American common sense, in my opinion. And it doesn't mean my opinion can't change. I'm definitely open-minded. I go back and forth on things, but I don't know. So what do you guys think? Is there a rebrand? No rebrand? I say 100% a rebrand going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Alrighty. Well, in other news, we have here Chinese espionage taking place, folks. I know. Isn't that wild? Chinese espionage. You're going to want to buckle up for this one because this isn't fear-mongering, by the way, which I've been told I've done in the past. This is reality here. Chinese espionage on U.S. soil has gone from a quiet concern to a full-blown national security emergency, and lawmakers in both parties are finally sounding the alarm. For years, the Chinese Communist Party had been buying up farmland, data infrastructure, and property near U.S. military bases, and Washington pretended not to notice. Now, we're seeing how deep this whole thing really goes here. You've got a trailer park in Missouri, a rando trailer park, sharing a fence with Whitman Air Force Base, home to the only, I'm going to say that again, only nuclear-capable stealth bomber fleet in America. Translation for those that are still sleepy, that's where the B-2 and the next B-21 stealth bombers live. That's where they're at. And who owns that land right there? A Canadian couple who happen to just be Chinese immigrants with business ties to Miles Go, a self-proclaimed former CCP intelligence affiliate. The land sits 1 mile from the runway, with totally unobstructed views of every takeoff and landing. A former CIA operator and officer said that location alone gives Xi Jinping surveillance angles, signals, intelligence opportunities, and intel opportunities, possible staging grounds, and the ability to insert operatives almost undetected. Bonkers, man. And it isn't just random. I mean, you got to look at this as something strategic. And get this, the base commander didn't even know about the foreign ownership. And that should terrify everybody, because this is not an isolated incident. And I'm going to take you down memory lane real quick. Let me take a swig of my coffee here. My mouth is dry. Y'all remember North Dakota, where a Chinese company tried to buy land near Grand Forks Air Force Base, where drone warfare and space defense systems are developed? Y'all remember that one? What about Texas, where a Chinese billionaire with ties to the CCP bought 130,000 acres near Laughlin Air Force Base, supposedly for a wind farm? Sure. The Chinese are all of a sudden not into coal anymore. They're just big into wind. Gotcha. Sure you are. Well, in Montana, a Chinese spy balloon loitered over nuclear missile bases and fields for days, gathering intel before the Biden administration finally shot it down after it crossed over the entire country. Y'all remember that one? We covered that bigly. I mean, you're kind of seeing a pattern. I would say you're seeing a strategy. And this is unrestricted warfare, the Chinese doctrine of using non-military tools to defeat an enemy from the inside. Now, some say it's far-fetched. I'm not so sure. I'm not sold on that. Last year, Congress passed a law requiring federal approval for foreign land purchases within 100 miles of nearly every major military installation. So guess what? The CCP is now using shell companies, Canadian and European cutouts, front corporations, and rural land trusts to get around that law. It's the same playbook they used in Africa, the South Pacific, and Latin America. They hide the ownership, they buy the land, build infrastructure, and plant assets. And it goes on here. Oh, there's more. Yes, there is more. Now you've got 23 lawmakers demanding a federal investigation into TP-Link, a Chinese-owned manufacturer of Wi-Fi routers, security cameras, smart home devices, and baby monitors. And here's the kicker, man. These products are being sold inside Army, Air Base, and Navy exchange stores, meaning they are literally helping American families and military families install CCP-affiliated hardware in their homes. Senior and Senator Johnny Ernst says these devices could intercept communications, they could map network traffic, identify troop locations, and provide a backdoor for the CCP intelligence. And this is not, I'm going to say this again, this is not paranoia, it's the law. In China, Article 7 of the National Intelligence Law requires any Chinese company or citizen to, quote, support, assist, and cooperate with the state intelligence work, end quote. Your data is not staying in Virginia. Your data doesn't stay on Amazon servers. Under Chinese law, your data belongs to Beijing. TP-Link says they are innocent. But so did Huawei or Huawei. I forgot how you pronounce that company. By the way, so did DJI drones. We actually covered them in the past until the Pentagon banned them. And so did TikTok until multiple intelligence reports linked it directly to CCP handlers. So let's not forget the FBI's warning from earlier this year regarding a lot of this stuff. Over the past 2 years, Chinese nationals posing as lost tourists, I'm going to put that in air quote, lost tourists, me no know where I go, have attempted to breach U.S. military installations at least 100 times. Yes, some of you just spit out your coffee because we live under a rock sometimes, including myself. They've been caught sneaking into missile ranges, swimming near Navy training sites, photographing radar arrays, and driving through base gates claiming they didn't understand English. The FBI calls them gate crashers. They actually have a name for this in the Bureau. That's how common this is. When things get names, you know it's common. Civilians used to test security and gather intel. Beijing calls them citizen spies. This isn't about a trailer park or a freaking Wi-Fi router. This is about a foreign adversary conducting land surveillance infrastructure infiltration, data harvesting, network mapping, physical intelligence gathering on U.S. soil, openly doing it and aggressively, clearly. And it's not a conspiracy theory like these Democrats and these hardcore leftists like to say. It's exactly what the CCP published. Their published doctrine calls for, is I guess how we could word it. While we're arguing about pronouns over here in the West, climate pledges, drag queen story hours, China's over here planting itself next to nuclear bombers, installing spy tech in our homes, infiltrating our universities, and building economic leverage through farmland and real estate. The Pentagon is saying they're worried, and Congress is finally waking up. Maybe, we'll see. But Beijing, they're already here, man. And they're not slowing down with it. And for some reason, our own people can't pull our heads out of our you-know-what and see there's actual evil out there. And there's, people that still want to continue this whole thing of dominating the world and having power and control over it. And because people think something can never happen, and when that thing happens, then they're finally like, oh no, oh my gosh, what happened here? Oh, that's crazy. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, before we move forward, folks, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support the show. I wouldn't ask you to do it if I thought it was a waste of time. It does really, really great things for the show. We also have this here. And forgive me, I guess I did not have the chat up. I apologize for that. Operation Charlotte's Web is in the news. And we're going to break this one down. This, again, has the left in meltdown mode. And activists are screaming, Hitler! They love to scream Hitler, if you haven't noticed. It's never Mao, it's never Stalin. For some reason, it's always Hitler. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a time and place to throw that out there, but not every time. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's show that we know a little bit of history and we can connect different things to different people for once. Jeez, man. This gets a little old. And President Trump is doing exactly what the law requires him to do. Enforce immigration laws that Congress has already passed. So if you're wondering why this is called Operation Charlotte's Web, Charlotte is now a top 10 sanctuary city in the country and has been a sharp spike and has seen a sharp spike in criminal activity tied to illegal immigration. ICE says the region has become a major hub for cartel-associated illegal entry and re-entry, identity fraud, and violent offenders who were previously deported. So it's not like something random. It's not targeted at immigrants. This is the federal government finally enforcing the law where local officials refuse to once again. I mean, how many stories have we covered here about the same theme over and over again? How we have politicians not out there wanting to enforce the law. And when you finally enforce the law, people's minds are blown because that's the culture we've established here in this country. And this goes back to Barack Obama's time. And so when you have 20 years of this type of behavior, well, it takes about 20 years to make a culture shift. It takes less than that, truthfully. And that's what we're seeing in this country. You had a bunch of Border Patrol agents or ICE agents, I suppose, going to get lunch at a taqueria, and the owner kicked them out, which is his right to do. But he said, oh, they're arresting our people. See, this is what I'm tired of. Yeah, they're arresting Mexicans. You're not a Mexican. You're an American. And I'm so tired of these people. I don't care who it is. Any immigrant coming into this country, you came here to become American. You didn't come here to be Mexican. You didn't come here to be Italian or whatever it is. French, English. No, you came here to be an American. So don't tell me this crap. They're arresting your people. They're not your people if they're illegal. They're Mexicans. They're Cubans. They're Haitians. They're Africans. They're any other country that isn't America because they're not here legally. It's not that hard. But what you found in this country are people disassociate themselves with the nation of which they immigrated to. And so now other countries are still their people. That's a problem, folks, especially after you just got done hearing there's a bunch of Chinese foreign intelligence operatives here in our country probably stealing our information, acting as spies. And now you probably have the same for for every other country because nobody pledges a loyalty to this country anymore. So when there is a world war, because you have major countries like China, like Russia, that still want to do evil works, mind you, actual China has concentration camps, but the left want to prance around and say our camps, meaning our institutions where we hold people for deportation authorization, those are camps. People are stupid nowadays. And because they're stupid, they say stupid things and they do stupid things and they ignore things that are actually going to solve problems. And that would be everything out there in the ether that you can, I don't know, make connections to. So the real targets are criminal illegal aliens. Under the Trump administration's current strategy, ICE and Border Patrol are primarily focused on criminal illegal aliens, prior deportees, gang members, drug traffickers, sex offenders, visa overstays associated with criminal activity. But, and this is crucial, when you go after a criminal alien, the people around them often lack legal status too. And Tom Homan has spoke about this. That's why you see non-violent aliens swept up. It's not targeting them, it's proximity. This is exactly how law enforcement works in every other context, by the way. It's not like, it blows my mind because people act like this is a new thing, and it's not. It's been around forever. Like since I've at least been alive, longer than that. If police raid like a drug house, for example, the people hanging around the drug dealer don't just get to say, whoa, bro, settle down. I'm innocent. I'm just sleeping on the couch. No, you're inside the raid and you're a part of the scene. And now you're being processed. We always tell our kids don't hang around with bad people because even if you're not doing something wrong, you could still be caught up in it. But for some reason, again, and it needs to be studied. It really does. People love to act stupid and are blown away about all this stuff. And really, the only thing it comes down to, they have to be actually stupid. Like I'm talking lower than 100 IQ. I don't know what is going on with people. And the same thing's happening here. Where they're going after a criminal. Oh, it turns out there's another 50 illegal aliens not doing anything around them. Oh, well, you're not supposed to be here. Sorry, you're getting deported. Guess you should have never hung around a criminal illegal alien. Guy slaughtered a bunch of people in his foreign country. Guess you probably shouldn't be around that guy. Makes me wonder what you're planning on doing. So the left's meltdown is happening because, of course, this is going after illegal aliens. Oh, God forbid. The inevitable outrage circus begins. You have Corin Mack, head of the Charlotte NAACP, compare Trump to Hitler, saying, quote, he really believes Hitler was the greatest man ever on earth. He's trying to create a 1940 Germany in the U.S., end quote. This is somebody from the NAACP. I would say this is emotionally unhinged. And it's also historically illiterate, by the way. So you find yourself having to do these mini history lessons because these people cannot open up a textbook. It's the oddest thing in the world to me. So let's be very clear for these people on the left. Deporting illegal immigrants is not genocide. It's also not even fascism. It is literally the basic function of a sovereign nation. The U.S. has deported people since 1798 under the Alien and Sedition Acts. Democrats supported mass deportations under FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, especially with Operation Wetback. Even with that name, Democrats were racist. I don't think that name is racist, but they call anything racist nowadays. I mean, everything's racist. Milk is racist. Band-Aids are racist, according to the left. Barack Obama, who deported freaking 3 million people, the most in U.S. history. The guy has like a golden medal for deportations. The guy broke records. All of a sudden, Trump's Hitler. I mean, they're not arguments. They're just temper tantrums from the left. And we constantly see that with these people. You have the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops releasing a video attacking the raids. Quote, we are disturbed. We see a climate of fear, and we are saddened by the vilification of immigrants, end quote. But here's what they never say. 30% of federal prisoners are non-citizens. Illegal immigrants are far more likely to commit murder, sexual assault, and drunk driving. Over 100,000 Americans have died from fentanyl each year, much of it trafficked by illegal border crossers. Sanctuary cities shield violent offenders and Americans pay the price. But you're going to talk about fear and vilification. But you don't mention the dead Americans, the raped children, and families destroyed by cartel violence. You don't talk about those. That's a little odd to me. A little weird. And then border czar Tom Homan dropped the hammer. He said, quote, "Secure border saves lives. I'll say it as a Catholic. They need to spend time fixing the Catholic Church," end quote. That's what Tom Homan said. And that's the line of the year. Because the same bishops moralizing about immigration spend decades covering up their own scandal involving thousands of children. So maybe, just maybe, they aren't in moral position to lecture ICE about protecting families. It's harsh to say, but there is truth to what Tom Homan is reporting, and that's what I'm doing. People think, oh, well, you just said something that's crazy against the Catholic Church. I am saying what Tom Homan is saying and what news reports are saying. This isn't what Brad is saying, and people aren't able to separate the two, which is always odd to me. I am allowed to report the news, and that's what the news is saying, and people get upset. So all this stuff I create is from various news outlets, and I put it together here on the show. I am allowed to read the news. I didn't say any of this was my opinion, and very well almost never give my opinion here on the show. You could assume my opinion, but then don't be shocked if my opinion isn't what you assumed. But we are all allowed to read the news and say this is what's happening. Just to give you a moment here of clarity, it's 6:34 and I've maybe given my opinion once. Maybe. I pull information from multiple news sources and report on it. And if I'm giving a quote like I just did, I can give context of what he's talking about. That still doesn't mean that's my opinion. We are all allowed to cover the news in this country. Now, there's broader patterns here because Trump's surge is actually working. Operation Charlotte's Web is part of a coordinated national plan, like Operation Lone Star in Texas, Operation Night Scorpion in Chicago. You got mass workplace enforcement raids in New Jersey, fugitive operations targeting child predators, and deportation flights ramped up to about 100 plus countries, which is pretty remarkable. And the amazing part here is these actions have led to a historic 93% drop in illegal crossings compared to Biden's numbers. Now, those percentages, they change from time to time. They're variable. But we went from nearly 300,000 illegal crossings a month under Biden to just 30,000 a day. Now, 30,000 is still a large number. Not happy about it still, but it's way better than 300,000. And that's not an accident. That's just leadership. And we have to wonder, well, why does this whole operation matter? Why is it in the news in the first place? Because Charlotte is a test case. And it's a test case for whether the federal government can enforce immigration laws inside of sanctuary jurisdictions that are openly obstructing them. Local officials refuse to cooperate with ICE. Activists try to physically block arrests, and left-wing judges issue last-minute injunctions. Meanwhile, ICE is saying assaults on their agents are up more than 1,000%, and death threats are up 8,000% since the crackdown began. It's not political. This is law enforcement trying to do its job while activists try to run America into a lawless refuge for criminal aliens. And I would say both sides, we know there's really only one side we're talking to here, has to answer these questions. Do you want open borders, cartel strengthened, criminals shielded, sanctuary cities overrun, and federal law ignored? Or do you want a secure border, rule of law, and immigration system that protects citizens first? Well, I think we know the answer they're going to give. They want open borders. They want cartel strengthened. How do we know that? Folks, we just lived under 4 years of Joe Biden strengthening the cartels. That's why I said Joe Biden is the greatest businessman that's ever lived in the history of our species. That is not an exaggeration. The guy has bolstered billions, tens of billion-dollar industries over there for the cartels. Sex trafficking, drug trafficking, all human trafficking. The guy is a remarkable specimen for the work he's done. He plays like he's deranged. He plays like he just doo-doos his diaper all the time. No. He's doing more than sniffing children, folks. Let me tell you, that guy is doing some wild stuff. Some big old wild stuff. Alrighty. Well, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, folks. It really does help support the show. We always appreciate your support that we can get here. Any support is always appreciated. And let's see what else we have. There was this crazy news that happened over the weekend. We did cover it on our X page. It almost might be helpful just to do the footage, but Mexico City, is it raid? Protest, I guess we'll call it. There was this Mexico City protest that happened over the weekend. And on November 16th, thousands protested outside Mexico's City National Palace, clashing with riot police. This is pretty nuts, man. Oh, we got more clips for you. And they're doing this because they're basically saying that the President Claudia Sheinbaum's administration is not doing enough to figure out the cartel and criminal activity that's happening all throughout their country, and that she's basically bought off by the cartels themselves, and she's just not doing anything about it, and they've had enough. And I heard this quote. I don't speak Spanish, so we'll have to, any Spanish speakers in here. But according to American AF, Mexico's president says that waging war against cartel is terrorism and it's illegal and fascist. Like, what?
Contra el narco no es opción. No es opción.
What?
Primero, porque está fuera del marco de la ley. Todos estos de la derecha que se llenan la boca de las palabras Estado de Derecho y defienden la guerra contra el narco. Pues la guerra contra el narco está fuera de la ley, porque como lo dije o lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, es permiso para matar, sin ningún juicio. Y eso en México nadie o muy poquitos están de acuerdo.
Yo, it's so absurd that, I'll be honest, it crossed my mind if this was AI.
Está fuera del marco de la ley. Y segundo, no sirvió de nada más que para aumentar los homicidios en México y el nivel de violencia. Entonces, estos llamados autoritarios, porque son autoritarios, es ir hacia el fascismo. Para la guerra contra el narco no.
It's wild. Well, they were like going after police officers and everything, man. It was bad. It was real bad. They were tearing down the gates, as you can see here in this footage, going after riot police. One dude got dragged into the thick of it. I want to see if I could find that really quick. One of the police officers got really messed up. So they're throwing all sorts of stuff. One dude got dragged. I'm trying to see if I could find the footage for you. It might have been this one. Yeah, it's this one. Check this out. Homie gets dragged into a bunch of rioters and they're beating the crap out of him. That I hate to say it, that's when you just start shooting people. Like this right here. That guy, by the way, people are asking if he lived. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if that police officer lived. And if you're not going to shoot live rounds, you could shoot rubber bullets or something at these people to get them off that officer. Again, nobody knows if that guy lived. I asked. I looked.
Get it.
Crazy. Guy's a human being, dude. Guy's just trying to do his job and get the crap beat out of you. That's always lovely. It's always lovely. It'll wake you up, though. I tell you what, that hit over that head will wake you up. Some of us don't need a hit over the head. Some of us can just drink blackout coffee. And y'all know I don't start my day without two things. Standing for what I believe in. We do a show here every morning with it. And a strong cup of coffee that does the exact same thing, baby. That's why I also drink blackout coffee. 100% American company that's unapologetically patriotic and pro-Second Amendment as well. And anti-woke, which I absolutely love. They don't just roast incredible coffee. They stand for the very values that this country was built on, which is important to me. That's God, family, and freedom. Every bag is roasted in Florida and shipped straight to your door. There's no corporate garbage with this, no virtue signaling, just real coffee for real Americans. If you, like me, and you need to hit the ground running, try their Morning Reaper medium roast. It's bold, smooth, and it kicks like a mule, man. I'm telling you, it's going to wake you up, folks. We do this show early in the morning. I am not a morning person at all. This coffee helps me get through. Or if you're just looking for something a little bit darker, like the Founding Fathers dark, grab their 1776 blend. It's rich, it's fearless, and roasted to perfection. It's not burnt, man. They know what they're doing over there. Support a company that actually gives a damn about this country. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/rumble. Again, go to blackoutcoffee.com/rumble and use code RUMBLE for a 20% off your first order. Yes, 20% off your first order. Blackout Coffee, wake up, stand up, and never back down. Phenomenal coffee. You guys know I'm like a coffee connoisseur. I drink coffee before the show. I drink coffee during the show, and I drink coffee throughout the day. And by the way, I drink my coffee black. I don't have creamer. I don't put sugar in it. Everybody knows, anybody that knows me knows all my coffee is always black. People are shocked for some reason. Like, really? How you think this beard grows off of estrogen? I'm a man. And I have to tell you that because they always say like, well, if you're a man, you don't have to tell people you're a man. Well, not nowadays, folks. People claim to be women all the time. I have to tell you that I'm a man. How could you assume my gender? How rude of you to assume my gender. Unbelievable. Oh, the beard was a giveaway for you, was it? Oh, you don't think women can grow beards? You think only men can grow beards? You're so sexist. Unbelievable. I can't believe my audience. You guys, after all these years, you always just assumed I was a man. People always wonder why I look over here, because that's where the chat is. I can read what you animals are saying about me. And you're saying, I'm a man. I am a lady. All right, well, what else do we have here? Okay, let's see what we have here for the Patriots in the chat. I almost felt like that was a little bit of, what do you call that? Heath Ledger, the Joker. Let's see what we have here for the news. Well, that's a little bit more Jack Nicholson, huh? I don't know which one that was. All right, well, we got some updates here for what's going on with the FBI and the Trump assassination attempt. And just give me a second, because the New York Post needs to cool it on the freaking advertisements, man. I'm telling you, you try to pull stuff up and it's just ad after ad after advertisement. I just want to see the stuff without ads. You guys know what I'm talking about? Is MAGA dead now, or are y'all going to keep running with it? Why would Make America Great Again be dead? What a stupid comment. It's so stupid. Really? It's silly. Well, we have this here. Miranda Devine, FBI, Secret Service, butchered the Thomas Crooks case and invited conspiracies. We deserve the truth. The problem with these conspiracy theories is basically no matter what Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, the folks over at the Secret Service, heck, even Tulsi Gabbard, kind of no matter what they release, there's so many conspiracy theories out there that it's not really going to do justice for anybody that wants to really get to the truth, because everybody, in a way that how the left says, everybody has their own truth to this. Everybody believes something a little bit different, and nobody believes the government. So it kind of almost doesn't matter what they come up with. So the country doesn't trust the FBI and Secret Service anymore. And we were told over and over again that Thomas Crooks, this 20-year-old who tried to delete Donald Trump at his rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, which we were streaming live for. I think we were like only one of the few streamers actually streaming that live, was basically a ghost. He had no real motive. He had no clear ideology, no meaningful online footprint. Now we know that was absolute nonsense, because on July 13th, 2024, Crooks climbed onto a rooftop with an AR-15 style rifle, fires 8 rounds. And by the way, they say AR-15 style rifle. Okay, that's not Brad saying it. That's what the article is saying. Okay, well, where does it say it? Right here. Just read with me. Fires 8 rounds. He deletes Corey Compatore, wounds 2 others, and nearly blows the side of Trump's head off. And Secret Service snipers finally drop him. Okay, little recap for you. The FBI quickly grabs his phone, all his devices, his digital life, and in a press release the very next day, they say they haven't identified a motive yet, but are reviewing evidence and following all leads. Then you had FBI Director Christopher Wray going to Congress and telling lawmakers that they found nothing in his online history pointing to a clear motive or ideology. Then a week later, his deputy, Paul Abbott, admits that there were online comments with anti-Semitic, anti-immigration themes and violent rhetoric, but still had no clear political motivation. That's the official line. Lone actor, murky motive, limited digital trail. Well, Miranda Devine and Tucker Carlson are now the narrative, at least trying to, connect the dots and blow the pieces up. An outside source, not the FBI, mind you, and not the Secret Service, and not some government task force, uses basic investigator tools, starting with Crook's phone number, and uncovers, get this, 17 different accounts in his real name. YouTube, Snapchat, Venmo, Zelle, GroupMe, Discord, Google Play, Quizlet, Chess.com, Quora, Divine Art, all tied back to Thomas Crooks. On YouTube alone, he posted 737 public comments under Tom Crooks 2178, account created January 2019 and suspended the day after the shooting. Well, so much for no online footprint, huh, folks? From Patriot Trump to murder the Democrats. Here's where it gets even worse. In 2019, teenage Crooks is loudly pro-Trump. In 2019, follow me here. He calls Trump the literal definition of patriotism. He rails against anti-Trump Congresswoman, the Squad, and posts things like, quote, I hope a quick, painful death to all those deplorable immigrants and anti-Trump Congresswoman, end quote. Then in December of 2019, he writes in all caps, I can't say this word, but delete the Democrats, which is insane. This freaking individual psycho. I don't wish any ill will against anybody in politics. That alone should have just lit up every monitoring system in the country. But in early 2020, just like a year later, and just like a month after that delete the Democrats post, he flips. He suddenly turns on Trump and the right. He calls Trump stupid, calls his supporters a cult, and labels him a racist, and starts hammering Trump's COVID response as too slow. And his rhetoric moves from MAGA-ish anger to full-blown radical nihilism. By August 5th, 2020, His literal writing says, quote, "In my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building, track down important people/politicians/military leaders, and try to assassinate them. The war will also be propaganda/information wars," end quote. That is not vague. That is not kind of just a rando thing to say. That is a 17-year-old writing a mini manifesto for political terrorism under his real name. And yet the FBI tells Congress they can't find a clear ideological motive. Really? I mean, it gets even weirder here. Crooks has, I think it's called deviant art accounts, where he uses they, them pronouns. Oh, but I thought the guy was a Trump supporter. I thought he was a conservative Republican. Really? I don't know too many Republicans or conservatives that use they, them pronouns, let me tell you. And is embedded in furry communities and posts bizarre furry fetish art, hypersexualized anthropomorphic animal characters, male bodies with female heads, classic deviant online kid stuff. He's also interacting with an online neo-Nazi extremist going by Willie Teps, tied to Nordic resistance movement, which the U.S. State Department has designated as a terrorist organization. Teps feeds him violent revolutionary rhetoric, quoting Mao. Political power grows from the barrel of a gun, which Crooks then repeats in one post a year after the Butler attack. Teps even claims he's had contact with both U.S. and Russian intelligence, bragging about how feds operate. Shortly after these interactions, Crooks disappears from the internet. He goes dark. So here's the question. If some independent researcher can reconstruct all of this public archives and basic tools from all of that, how did the FBI miss it? And if they didn't miss it, why didn't they tell us? Now, the FBI insists they never said Crooks had no online presence, only that they couldn't determine a clear motive. They just set up a new X account to respond to Tucker Carlson, saying that they've reviewed vast amounts of digital evidence and still see Crooks as a lone actor. They point to things Ray mentioned publicly, like Crooks Googling how far away was Oswald from Kennedy a week before the attack, and even flying a drone at the rally site hours before the shooting as proof that they were transparent. But here's the problem. Congress created a bipartisan House task force on the assassination attempt. Their final report hammers the Secret Service for catastrophic security failures, failed surveillance, failure to secure rooftops, failure to act on prior threat intelligence. A separate review panel and GAO report also found the Secret Service didn't properly share classified threat information or implement standard protective measures. Yet, in all those official documents, none of them, not a single of this rich digital trail appeared. The radicalization arc, the violent manifesto style comments, the extremist contacts, shows up the way Miranda Devine's source and Tucker Carlson are now laying it out. So there's really only two ways that this can go. The FBI somehow failed to fully map his online life for over a year, or they did map it, but chose to present the most watered-down version possible to Congress and the public. Neither answer inspires confidence, that's for damn sure. And here's why people smell a cover-up, even if part of this is just raw incompetence, let's just say. The feds downplay his ideology and motive. They withhold or omit huge chunks of his online radicalization. They insist he's a lone wolf, while ignoring his interaction with a foreign-linked neo-Nazi tied to a designated terrorist organization. The Secret Service gets roasted in a report after report for shocking security failures, but nobody is really held accountable. And then, when journalism and independent investigators dig up what the government neither bothered to show us, the response from the Bureau is basically, shut up, conspiracy theorists, trust us. How about no? How about that's not how things work anymore? When a sitting or former president of the United States is almost deleted on live television, when American citizens are deleted and others maimed, when multiple federal agencies drop the ball before, during, and after the attack, the American people are owed full transparency. Not selective snippets, not some sort of stupid spin that doesn't even make sense, not just take our word for it. If Crooks truly was a lone nut, this lunatic, prove it with all the evidence. If there were intelligence leads missed, just admit it. And if the FBI knew about the digital trail and chose to not highlight it, explain why that was the case. Because here's the bottom line, man. You don't defeat conspiracy theories by hiding facts, and we see that with the Epstein files. You don't defeat them by telling the whole truth, or that's how you defeat them, is by telling the whole truth, even when it's ugly, even when it makes the government look bad. Right now, it looks like the FBI, the Secret Service, and other three-letter agencies butchered this case. Then they try to put the PR Band-Aid over it, and, well, it's a bullet wound. It's just still gushing. Bunch of liars, man. Bunch of liars. Don't trust them. Don't trust them at all. Well, that is today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you got a little bit of information out there. We kind of looked into what was going on with the Epstein files showdown. You got Donald Trump fighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You got Chinese spies, all that. And you got a few people in the chat just for some reason saying, bottom line, our president made promises he didn't want to keep during his campaign, tried to cover his bleep, and then straight up lied to everyone in July by saying that the files didn't exist. That's not what he said, but that's what people do is they read headlines. It's always some vague thing with people. It's odd. It's odd. I really don't get some people. I really don't. Bit, you need to do more research. You're saying very vague things in the chat. That's an absolute wild take. So because they delayed releasing the files, we shouldn't care because now they might not be able to get put away for life. Are you kidding me? Oh, no, man. Man, Pam Body didn't, that's not what she said. But, you know, that's what you read in the headlines, right? Must be watching a lot of CNN, MSNBC, buddy. All right, well, we're going to end the show here because some of us have to go to work, make a living here. I hope all of you have a blessed and lovely day. Pray for this country. Pray for Donald Trump. And read your Bibles today. Read a little bit of scripture. And always pray for those that are in need. With that being said, I hope all of you have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Bob Brad Show at 6 a.m. Appreciate you.